Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Waypoint podcast. Today, we're doing a spoiler cast for the 2021 Mortal Kombat movie. We've got two very special guests with us today. I don't know what the layout is, Al, so I'm just pointing this way, but on my right, we've got Scooter Cannon.
Hello.
And then over there-ish, not exactly, but in that general area, in front of my favorite Mortal Kombat character, Blue Dragon. It's the one and only Roberthighwind.
What up, what up? I don't have a catchphrase.
Goof, goof.
Hello. Goof, goof.
It's the Blue Eyes White Dragon.
I love
my
Yu-Gi-Oh!
trap card.
And then, of course, we have two of our very own members of Waypoint, Austin Ernst.
That's me. Hello.
And one Alec Bobko.
Hey-oh.
Didn't hear it, but that's okay. It just kind of went.
It'll come in the recording, so.
Yeah. The
Fix
mic
it
picked it up. And
Fix it post.
And of course, I'm Chris, a.k.a. RumblePack92. And boys, I'm very excited to test our mind.
Test your might.
Now, before I start generalizing, because I know I'm under the impression we have some probably very different opinions on here, but I fucking loved this movie, dude. It was a blast. I had a great time doing it. There's no real like order or the things that we're doing in when we do spoiler casts. We just sit down and start just talking about the movie. Yeah.
Ramble.
Yeah, fair enough.
Ramble.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we just go off on it. And I'm a longtime Mortal Kombat fan. My parents actually like to joke that, and actually I don't think it's a joke, but the original Mortal Kombat, when it released on the Super Nintendo, was like the very first game that I ever played, which is why I turned out like this. You know, it's kind of...
That's why you look like Sub-Zero.
It was the... Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
I am Sub-Zero.
Cool. Also, I very much enjoyed it in the movie.
It's fun, right? It's a fun movie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
It is a fun movie. Yes, it is.
It's like, look, I went in, I was like, here's what I want. I want to see fatalities. I want to see Mortal Kombat characters, and they give me both of those things. And a real low bar.
Yeah, for me, I went in with
Can't wait.
very little expectations, and I came out like I was entertained. Like hype moments, you know, they gave me a cool remix of the song at the end. I was happy.
Hell yeah, they did.
They didn't
I'm
use the
listening
song
to it
in
right now.
But I agree, it was a cool remix at the end. My only expectation for the film was be better than Annihilation. That's it. That was it.
That's an even lower bar than
That's
I
a
had.
very low bar. Yeah.
Couldn't be too hard.
So, I mean, me and Robert have talked a little bit about this, and I have a differing opinion. I think. I mean, I don't know if I'm the majority or minority, but I went in there with high expectations. I think because of the trailers I saw, I thought that it was going to be pretty cool. And it was for the most part a fun movie.
It was pretty cool because Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero was awesome. You know, I want to state before I am a big Mortal Kombat fan. I played every single game from the beginning, and again, just like you, I'm pretty sure one of the first games I ever played was Mortal Kombat, the original, on PC, actually, if I recall.
Ooh.
But I also want to say, you know, I don't know all of the MK lore and things like that for the most part, but it changes so rapidly all the time.
Yes.
I think, right? You know, from every game to game.
Very frequently.
And I don't remember every aspect of every story, but I do remember, you know, certain aspects here and there. I also want to say I'm not a movie expert by any means, so I don't want to claim to be or anything, but
you heard it here first. Connor knows everything about movies.
Oh, the lighting in that one scene.
I mean, however, I think I'm a little bit of a movie buff. I do analyze a lot of aspects of the film, and I think that's kind of where I went wrong with this movie because I probably should have shut off a little bit. So I told you guys before we started that I did rewatch it again today just to be fresh.
Same.
And I did enjoy it more this time than I did the first time. I think because of what I knew what to expect now, it was a little more enjoyable.
Fair.
All in all, you know, I give it about a 6 out of 10. It was a fun movie, but there were a lot of things that it rubbed me the wrong way. But we'll talk more about that. So, Robert, what was your opinion on the movie?
I mean, I liked it from beginning to end. I acknowledge that there are some little things here and there that, you know, are like, for instance, the song should have been used, like at least the full song should have been used at the very end during the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight, for sure. I was just waiting for that, like, dun, 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 dun. Like, I was waiting for that like, kick, you know what I mean? Like, because the original song has that kick that just gets you hyped up. During the fights, the fight scenes were immaculate, and the music could have just been a little more amped up to like really drive it in, but I still enjoyed because the fight scenes were just great, so I didn't like it didn't like throw me off that much. I wasn't like, what is this? And as far as like any criticism I've heard, I acknowledge it, but the thing that I keep coming back to is like, well, then how else would you do it? You know what I mean? Like, I've heard people not like the Arcanas, I heard people not like Cole, but I feel like all of that facilitates to get to the point of these people have powers. It's kind of like X-Men DNA is the way I think of it, but like kind of cooler because you got to kill someone to get it sometimes. Give me your DNA, man.
Give me the tattoo.
Yeah, just rip the skin, just put it on, sew it on. It's mine now.
I have it. It's me.
So I don't know. I would love to hear like all the criticism because like maybe I just missed something. You know what I mean? Maybe I was just so into it that like it just all went like this way. But I loved it. I plan on watching it again. Like just have it in like another monitor as I'm working or something, like just because I thought it was super dope. And I love that it was just so fast paced. When I looked at how long this movie is, I'm like, it's like way less than 2 hours. I'm like, what? How is this possible? And they're like, we gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta get here. We gotta go. There's these things. They gotta this tattoo. We gotta go.
We got a tattoo. We fight for the fate of the realm. We gotta go.
Realms.
And I was like, wait, hold on.
I'll say for me, the thing I took away from this is that the Ghost of Tsushima movie is going to be dope.
Heck yeah, dude.
I mean, just
because that Hanzo fight at the beginning,
put a mask over Hanzo. Yeah,
it's Ghost of Tsushima. That's all I thought when I first saw this.
I can piggyback off what Robert said, and I think when it comes to the Arcana and basically Cole as a whole, I agree those were kind of weak points for me too. But I kind of agree with what he said. How else would you do it? I think the Arcana and Cole are much cooler in concept than what they appeared on screen. Like if you just gave me that written down, I'd be like, "Ooh, yeah, I can get behind that idea." I just don't think they executed on those ideas super well.
So I like Cole a little more than the Arcana thing. Not much. I think those are probably like the weakest points for me outside of like maybe some not so great dialogue. But I mean, it's Mortal Kombat. I don't give a shit about that. Where it's just because Cole had some issues just with like who he is and his motivations and what he's doing, and also his power is kind of dumb. But I didn't like the Arcana specifically because it felt like they needed a way to just kind of explain why these people have powers, whereas Arcana's not a thing in the games.
Yeah,
like Liu Kang just shoots fireballs, and you go, okay, and I was like, I don't feel like they needed to explain that. They could have just been like, this guy shoots fireballs, and I was like, okay, I'm there for that. Like, was Kabal in the tournament? He runs real fast. Did he have a mark? Like,
who knows, man?
I don't understand the rules of Arcana. Do you have to be in the tournament to have Arcana? I don't understand.
What tournament?
Sassy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
what
tournament
tournament
didn't even happen in this movie.
Which that was something that I learned is I guess when it was pitched, it's actually being pitched as a trilogy. Like to whatever, so they want a pre-tournament movie, a tournament, and a post-tournament movie.
The Sub-Zero guy signed 4 movies, something like that.
For like 4 movies, yeah.
A trilogy, maybe a standalone as well.
I will say that them focusing more on Scorpion and Sub-Zero was absolutely the right choice.
Oh, yeah,
and I also think that the bloodline thing, Scorpion's bloodline being kind of like the prophecy, I think that is absolutely the right choice. I just don't think they executed on the bloodline thing with Cole 100%. But yeah, choosing Scorpion and Sub-Zero as like the main characters, which arguably they are anyway in the main games. So
100%.
Especially now. With the time gap between when Mortal Kombat came out back then, like you can argue anyone could be the main character, but throughout all these video games, all that, like just showing even casual fans Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they know them. Yeah. So much so that like Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston dressed up as them in their wrestling gear. Like these are the 2 icons. It's not Liu Kang. It's not anyone else. It's not Raiden. It's those 2.
And I mean, it's like I'm looking at the movie poster right now. It's Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Like Sub-Zero and Scorpion have been on the covers of the last like 3 games, like since 9 came out. They're always on the front of it. Like, I mean, they are Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
they're on the G Fuel tubs of Mortal Kombat flavors that just came out. Like, I mean,
when it came to the lineage, you know, like we were talking about, I understand the lineage of Scorpion and how it was a big gap, 4,000 years or so from when the baby was taken.
Was it actually?
It was. That's what they said.
Oh, yeah.
He said
Holy
he killed Scorpion 4,000 years ago. That's what Sub-Zero said. Anyways, the whole time I'm wondering, like, okay, at the beginning of this movie, when they show the baby, I'm like, okay, this baby's gonna grow up to be somebody very important, and maybe they'll talk more about that in later installments. I don't know.
That's true.
But the way that Raiden presented it, like he's like, they made it seem like she was a very important character, and Raiden never says where he brought her. He just said, "Oh, I took her to the place where he would never think, or where the Lin Kuei would never think to look." And I was like, okay, where was that? Like, just give me a little bit more there. I don't know, but
I just wanted to learn temple, but yeah, they never really
said
on that, do they?
You know? And so I'm wondering if they're gonna, like, in later installments, maybe even a prequel, you know, series to this one. I don't know, like, show that lineage growing up older, or, you know, I don't know. But
I don't think so.
It was really confusing, just for me a little bit. But
all of them turn into the bronze kneecap too. I might add, when they transform.
I could totally see them doing like an animated short type of thing too, as a prequel. I could see them doing that.
That would be cool.
Interesting. Yeah,
that would be cool.
See,
but they did have that Scorpion's Revenge movie, the animated one.
I still need to watch that.
I want to watch that.
Excellent.
It's funny when we were watching it, and then they go into the present time, and we were seeing like Cole, and then her daughter or whoever, and then we were like, "Wait, which one is it? Is it the mom? Is it the daughter?" Because then I was like, "No, it's got to be the dude, right? He was on the posters." And then we're like, "Wait a minute, he took a girl. The brother got killed." And then we're like, "What?" And then we're like, "Wait a minute." This isn't like 20 years apart.
Yeah. so that was
feudal Japan and then New York City, just at the same time.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest problems I had. I know a lot of people, we talked about, you know, a lot of people didn't like Cole. I didn't mind Cole. Like, I didn't mind it, but the whole thing, I'm doing this whole movie while I'm watching this with Cole. I'm trying to figure out who he's going to become the whole movie. Yeah. I'm like, oh, wait, is he like a main character? And then not till like halfway through, I started realizing, oh, this is a whole new character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I understand now. Okay. I thought that they were going to introduce him as, like, you know, one of the classic characters just out of costume or something. You know what I mean? I figured
he was just going to become the new Scorpion.
That's what I thought.
And to reuse my joke, instead he became the bronze kneecap because reasons. But I mean, like, It was. I thought it was strange because I mean, he's Scorpion's lineage.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he like be able to like breathe fire or whip a chain out or something like that? It's just weird that he doesn't do anything. He will.
I feel like that's kind of him, like, with that armor, is that it's absorbing those hits with the heat and then letting like redirect it.
I mean, it was like a Black Panther thing, but that's not like a a Scorpion thing to me, you know?
Right.
Yeah, interestingly enough, too, you know, they talk about the Arcana and stuff like that. We never actually found out what Scorpion's Arcana was before he died. You know what I mean?
I assume it's that his Arcana he can live in hell.
Yeah, he like burned up. So there's something.
He did burn up and just go straight to hell. Like, I mean,
he learned to control the flames of hell.
And then he delivers the best line in the movie where it's like, "I've crawled out of hell to get my revenge," and I was like, "Let's fucking go!"
Yeah,
at the end,
I will say. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say at the end when he left that fighting ring, he did his teleport where he teleports down in flames.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I will say, in classic Waypoint fashion, jumping around, you brought up that you were trying to Connor, right? That's your name?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, sorry.
That was okay.
You brought up that you didn't know who Cole was going to become, and at the very end, when they tease, right before they tease, this major spoiler for the people watching, they tease Johnny Cage. For a split second, when he said Hollywood, I was like, "Oh shit, is he gonna be Johnny Cage? Like, that's gonna be his stage name?" And I'm like, "Oh," but I was like, "That's better anyway."
Yeah,
yeah, that's much better.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have somebody be Johnny Cage.
It just popped in my head, you know.
One quick question: when's Cole coming to MK11?
I hope he doesn't.
Never. Please do not put Cole in a video game.
He'll be in the next.
I don't really see I don't really see how a character like Cole can work because again, it's very much. I mean, unless the defense is where he's blocking and then taking the punches and converting that power. But in the movie, the whole time, the only time he converted the power is when he was getting his ass beat.
Fucking Goro.
Yeah.
So you'd have to get your ass beat like all the time in the game, and then just convert that into energy to come back.
It's like his role in the movie is he's the like the audience plant. Like he's the one that people can say essentially tell the plot to. Yeah.
Here's the thing with that.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say like all of these types of movies always have that one character that the audience is supposed to put themselves into, and it never turns out well, right?
Well, I will say that it makes it or breaks it with that character. If they succeed with that character, then it's always you don't think about it. You know what I mean? It's something in the back of your head. Like when a game has a good soundtrack, you're like, okay, it's got a good soundtrack, and you don't really think about it. It's kind of like that.
Away. Yeah. And I feel like because the movie benefited by being short, so you didn't spend too much time on it. Because like if you spent more time with Cole, we might end up hating him even more. Because we're like, we don't care about him. We care about the cast of characters we grew up with Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So we spent as little time as possible on him and his family. Like, look, he's got a family. He gets his butt beat all the time in MMA. Therefore, Arcana equals power up Little Mac style. And
do you think the Arcana is legal by MMA standards?
Yes.
Probably. To give Cole a little bit of credit, I do think that, cheesy or not, the fact that to awaken his Arcana, he had to pretty much see his family in peril. Like, too bad for his family, but like I like that plot point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I actually liked the Arcana backstory a little bit. That was one of the things that I actually liked about this, comparatively to most people. But I mean,
the bracelet.
Well, I mean, just like learning where they, I mean, just again that background on the power. I mean, I like you said, Chris. I mean, I guess it wasn't necessary, but it was an interesting part of this version of Mortal Kombat that I enjoyed. So
I think I would have liked it a little more if it had at least almost always been just like innate things like shooting fireballs or whatever the hell it was that Sonya Blade does. But then they're
laser,
like,
I'm guessing. Since
well, yeah. So that's one of the things that I had an issue with was Kano's Arcana being the laser in his eye, because in the games he's got a robotic eye.
Right.
Robots shoot lasers. That's like a thing.
He's not dead though, I don't think, because they smoked away.
He said they'd be back.
Hero and the other guy.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be back.
Smoke them away, and they'll do something.
I have a thing for that. Okay. When they're in the temple, Kano takes a medallion, which has something to do with like resurrection and stuff like that.
Shinnok's medallion, yeah.
Yes, and we never actually see him put it back. He's told to put it back, but there's never a scene of him actually putting it back.
So
smart.
Plus, if they introduce like Quan Chi or Shang Tsung is probably going to be in it as well. I mean, dead people come back to life all the time in Mortal Kombat.
Absolutely,
games.
they'll probably
ridiculous.
I can totally see them just morphing that character into one thing.
Yeah.
Quan Chi and Shang Tsung. It'd make it a lot easier, honestly.
Just one quick thing while I just mentioned the medallion. They did have Katana's fan there in the background too when they first when Shang Tsung first comes and he puts up the force field. You can see it in the back between when they're
Hell yeah.
Cool. That's pretty dope.
That's exciting. That was a character that was missing. Was Katana.
I'm sure she'll be
like
there in the next one.
Oh yeah.
Also,
we're gonna see. Oh god, sorry.
I was just gonna bring it back to Kano, and because I loved Kano.
Oh yeah,
best character.
Best character. Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah. Hands down, best character.
I did not expect that at all.
Same.
Especially because I don't care for Kano in the games, really.
He was hilarious. What was the actor that played him?
Oh my gosh, he was actually a stuntman from what I understand before this.
Oh really?
And so after this was his first like starring role, which was what I understood. So
breakout role right there.
Which is amazing because I just think about him delivering what I thought was the best joke in the movie, where Sonya's explaining to Cole like the birthmark, and he's like, "Are you in this tournament?" And she's like, "No, I didn't get one." And in the background, you hear Kano go wah wah.
Yeah. Off screen, right? Yeah, I remember.
I wish that was improvised because that would be freaking amazing by him.
I liked the fucking whoops.
It was great.
That was great.
I would be so curious to know if those lines were written that way, or it's just this guy's like natural humor cadence coming out.
Yeah.
I thought I had
freaking done.
Something I'd read was that a lot of those like little one-off things were things that he was improvising on set.
Oh my god,
that's awesome.
I can imagine it says like quip. Like, come up with something right here, quip.
Yeah, just say something, and he's like, all right.
So I took some notes on some of the actors.
Josh Lawson is his name.
Josh Lawson. Okay.
Tell me about those notes, Scooter.
Yeah, I took some notes on some of the actors. Okay, just kind of like my opinion on them, and I was curious what you guys thought about them. So I'm just gonna go down the list. Kind of, it's a short list, but Cole Young, I listened to him as all right actor. I didn't mind him. Nothing very impressive, but for the main protagonist, I thought he was kind of boring, in my opinion.
I feel like just real quick, I feel like he really couldn't succeed 110% with the role he was given.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
They're going to be disjointed with that.
I think his emotion and stuff was there. It was just there was some times where it was just like I just let's get to the other characters, But
right.
Jax, good actor, enjoyed his character quite a bit.
Oh yeah. The little arms he
had.
For
the little amount of screen time that he had, I think he was great. Sonya, not impressed. I thought she was not a very good actor. I thought she overacted quite a bit.
She looks like Sonya Blade.
She does look like her, but a lot of the time it was just unbelievable for me as Sonya Blade.
I enjoyed her. I enjoyed Sonya Blade.
Quick aside, did you guys remember Sonya Blade's like laser cannon arms?
Yeah,
because I didn't, and I was and when she like did a flip jump, I'm like, what's her arcana like? Agility? And then she just went, and I was like, "Oh, that's right."
yeah.
Aren't they green in the games, or am I misremembering?
Oh yeah. I think the OG ones might have been.
I think they're purple.
I think they're originally green. They're definitely purple in the newest ones.
Yeah. But that was one thing too about Sonya, right? I know she killed
Johnny Cage is green.
She killed Kano, but we didn't really see how she gained her Arcana. We know that she got the mark. But what was her Arcana? Like, how did she unleash that?
Who knows?
I just think that's her because she's a natural. It came easier.
She's a fighter.
Well, that and she also said a gift from Kano. So I'm not sure if that was like literal, like, hey, I can shoot lasers.
Oh, maybe.
Good point.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't like that, but that's a good point.
I think we're looking a little too far into.
That was just the connection. That was just the connection I made with this. Was that literal gift from Kano?
Right. She's not very good with hand-to-hand combat, so so maybe just hands.
hands
are Arcana hands.
Hands. I got Arcana.
well, again, I think the thing I had a problem with was they explained like the way that your Arcana comes out is by fighting for something you believe in. So maybe it was just that she believed in the battle of good versus evil or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, she was the character that was like obsessed with the tournament though too, and like wanting to be a part of that.
Yeah,
maybe she just instantly got that.
Point, this is the argument I would make, right? At a certain point, it doesn't really matter.
No,
the Arcana is to facilitate them getting the powers that we know and love. Does it really matter that like Kano just went, wow, laser? No, he got the cool laser. Dope. Let's move on. And then in the next movie, he'll have his thing over here. Like
again, most of these notes were from me watching it the first time. The second time, it was all just like, okay, let's go. This is the movie. I'm ready to go. So I did like it again the second time. But Kano, best actor, true to character, entire movie. I liked him from the beginning to the end. He was great. Liu Kang, great actor. But for compared to the original, and again, this was my problem, was I kept comparing it to the original to me, which is nostalgic, and I think that's kind of where it was getting at me too. But it was a little bit boring, but it was absolutely shredded. Freaking.
I was just about to bring that up. That first time when they're in the sand pit and you see him flex, and I went, damn.
I was like, yeah, let's go.
I agree with everything you just said about Liu Kang. I agree with. I think he killed the role. I just think we have expectations for that role.
Oh, sorry.
No, good.
I was just saying, as a wrestling fan, the role that he was given in this thing is the slow build to the ultimate baby face. Because we know Liu Kang wins one of the tournaments at least in the games or whatever. Like he is the main character. Here we got like the little sprinkle, like, oh, this guy's been training here his whole life. Oh, he just saw his best friend get killed. Spoilers, everybody. So it's like it's a slow build to perhaps like in the second, maybe the third, he's just the coolest thing we've ever seen, right?
Because the guy.
Yeah, he's like the guy, not Cole or whatever. Like this is like the low-key guy that they're building in the back. That's how I took it. So I was like, I'm cool with this. Like, take me on this ride. I'm with you.
If I remember correctly, he wins if you play like Mortal Kombat 1 or Mortal Kombat 9, which rebooted the whole thing. I believe Liu Kang wins like that initial tournament, but it's like he's he is and isn't the main character, because a lot of times like Johnny Cage is usually like in that first tournament, the Johnny Cage is usually posted as like he's also kind of the main character. Mortal Kombat doesn't like to really focus on who's the main character per se.
Well, what in my mind, what happens with that is they have a plan, and then the fans love characters a lot better than their plan, aka Johnny Cage, and that's why that comes to the front.
Yeah. I'm hoping in the second movie, if please WB make the second movie, don't be the way you are. I'm hoping Johnny Cage's character, because he's going to be, how extremely cocky he's going to be. If he already has the Arcana, or he has to get the Arcana, and then all of a sudden he's like dope and amazing, and then like he's like going to be super cocky. Liu Kang's going to be like, listen, we have to like, you got to be straight and narrow on everything. They're going to clash in the second movie, which is going to be great, because we already got like a kind of a snippet with like a super cocky character, Kano, and Liu Kang clashing, and so Johnny Cage being the good guy this time, but also cocky, like we're going to see them going head to head. And I'm hoping that's kind of how it goes. Like the two top, good guys are kind of clashing to see who then is like the ultimate good guy or whatever. And also in a wrestling thing, you saw the bad guy, destroy his best friend, which is great. Like they literally just did this on SmackDown, which is amazing. Like one of the good guys they're building slowly just watched his friend get demolished. And it was great. I love it.
I'm all about it. I think that was one like small like nitpick, just character wise, which was specifically with Kung Lao, who in the games is extremely cocky. Like I mean, he's very, very arrogant. I'm the best. Like I'll fuck you up, and usually he does, and that's kind of what's fun about the character. But I mean, I was like. I wanted him to be just a little more
cocky. He was kind of there, but just a little more over there.
He was dope.
That was my next line too.
He was dope in this movie, though.
Yeah, he has fatality in the movie.
Yeah, it makes sense why he would say it now, because he's so cocky. So he's like, flawless victory.
Kung Lao was. I liked the actor in that too. He was super cool. One of my favorites in the movie. The next one was Shang Tsung. Good actor. I think I'm pretty sure I've seen him in a bunch of stuff, but
he's in Dark Knight.
Yes, that's where I've seen him. Yes, that's where I've seen him.
That's right.
But his role in this was, to me, it was like a little boring for Shang Tsung. Again, I keep going back to the original, right? Shang Tsung in there, that killed the role.
He's about to get his soul sucked.
I love this part. Just Kabal in the corner, just peeking like,
Can we talk about the disjointed feel every time they went back to, what's the other realm called?
Outworld.
Outworld. Every time they went there, I was like, this is stupid. Like, I don't care about this.
There were weird scene cuts where the one that I took note of was, when Cole loses the first MMA fight, just immediately after that, it cuts to Outworld for some reason. And he's talking to Sub-Zero, and then it cuts back to Cole, and I'm like, that was. I mean, you could have done.
You could have waited that after.
It was just weird. It was just weird timing. But again, it's a little nitpicky, I know. But
1960s Batman. Meanwhile, over in Outworld,
Sub-Zero, I need you to go do stuff. Raiden, great actor. I liked him. I thought he nailed the role. I thought it was great. Kabal, my favorite in the movie, and my favorite character actually altogether. I think he was great.
Kabal was sick. And he looked like he stepped out of Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he looked awesome.
Exactly, and he nailed the attitude. It was really like
he's a real piece
Kabal
of
Kano
shit.
prequel show.
Give it to me. Inject it in my veins.
And then the two useless characters, General Raiko and Natara. Why were they there? Like I don't understand that.
To die.
For Jax to look cool.
Who cares about this character? That's another nitpick that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Where of course what's the general? What's his name? Whatever.
Well, Raiko. General Raiko was the Raiko was the hammer guy, and Natara was the winged woman.
Hammer guy, and Jax fighting. Very cool because they used classic stage The Pit, right? And then I'm sitting and I'm like, how can you put The Pit in the movie and not uppercut him into the spine? I wanted that to happen. I was like, come on, it's The Pit. Let's go. That's a classic stage.
Yeah, that would
but Jax just
with a K.
smashing him like.
Yeah,
it was very cool though. Yeah,
I bet they thought about that, and then they went with the fatality instead.
Yeah,
so don't put it at The Pit. Save The Pit for
maybe there's a deleted scene where he
teasing
it.
They're teasing it.
There could be. Yeah,
for other movies.
That's a good point. Maybe they're teasing another one.
Give me The Pit. Give me Deadpool.
Just quick little thing, because I think I might be the most casual Mortal Kombat fan amongst us, because
I'm pretty casual. I just play the story modes and bounce.
Okay. I don't even own a lot of Mortal Kombat games. I just watch it on YouTube. I watch like someone play through the story so I can watch it. So like I had no idea who Hammer Dude was.
Same.
character.
Flying
Barely.
lady.
I
stuff.
barely
Oh,
knew who he
character.
was.
Okay.
Just
I thought he was
his name,
gonna
but I
become-
didn't know who he was.
You knew his what? His name?
I heard his name, but I didn't know who he was. Like I couldn't
Same.
put a face to him in the games. You know, I was like,
He shows up in like a couple of the games in like the early
Mm.
2000s during their weird like 3D phase. Like it
Oh,
was
Deadly
weird
Alliance
GameCube
something,
games.
real great.
oh
Yeah,
no,
like
Because
yeah,
the only
like
big guy that I
PS2.
know is the Minotaur. So when I saw this guy, I'm like, is he gonna become the Minotaur? Like, I'm just trying to like connect it to people I know. I'm like, who is this guy?
Right.
Is he random or is he the Minotaur?
Same with
secretly?
same with Natara, who like the Minotaur, or now you can like in later games you got to play as Goro, but initially they were only like boss characters and that was it. Like you couldn't play as them. Natara was one of those as well, the flying lady who gets sawed in half by Liu Kang
Fantastic.
or Kung Lao's hat, which is
Mhm.
awesome.
yeah.
Fantastic. But you brought up Goro. Can we talk about Goro in this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
about that?
Yeah, how they
Scene?
nerfed the shit out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cole made Goro look like a straight bitch.
Look, I'm not
That was
like a
probably the
Goro
worst part.
stan or anything, but they did Goro dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially wasn't
But-
he supposed to have like won the last like 9 tournaments or something? Like
And he was a prince, and like,
He's
I
not a
don't
king
know,
yet.
Prince
That's
of
why he
the-
lost.
Prince of the Outworld.
I don't know their relationship in the game, Shiva and Goro. I know they're the same species, correct?
Correct.
I mean, I don't know what their relationship is, but maybe they're setting up some kind of revenge story with Shiva later on.
That would be cool.
That would be
Yeah.
interesting.
yeah.
That would be all right
Um,
because we've seen Goro, already have his moment in the other one.
Mhm.
If you were to ask me to like bet who's gonna die in this movie, I would not have said Goro.
I think
Yeah.
he'll come back. To be honest, the whole smoke.
I think they're all gonna come back.
They'll come back.
Yeah.
If they don't do a Johnny Cage nut punch on Goro,
Oh, it's gonna
bad
happen.
movie.
Yeah.
It better happen.
One
Can
thing-
we
oh.
go ahead?
I
Go ahead.
was gonna say one thing I really liked in this was because like like I said, I played the story modes and all that, and especially in the recent ones, they have those stupid cutscenes of them like walking into the arena, like when Kano and Blade fought. It was literally reminded me of just like one of those little cutscenes right before the fight in the story mode.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought
Yeah,
that was
and
okay because they do that in the game. So I was like, that's cool. It's
Are you
Yeah.
talking
the whole
about when
game.
they got teleported? Is that what you're talking about?
No, when they're walking through the desert to get to Raiden's.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Little
when they're fighting-
conversation leads to just a side scroller.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
see
Oh,
them. Yeah.
And then, but they have the reference to the like drop kick, wheel kick, or whatever that's called, and just
Yeah.
doing that
The
over and
bicycle
over
kick?
again.
The
Bi-
bicycle kick.
No,
The sweep kick.
the sweep
Sweep-
kick. Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
Where you just
yes.
smash
Dude,
that.
I love that so much.
Kano's like, "Is this the only move you know?"
He's like, I got you. No.
But go back to the bicycle kick because I love the bicycle kick in the games, but it's never been portrayed well in a movie, and I think it was fine here. It was just like a
Yeah.
like a brief image. It was kind of at a weird angle where it didn't look terrible. I thought they did okay.
It wasn't too
Um,
long, which I liked about it. Like
Yeah.
it didn't.
Yeah.
And then
Did
they
he look
drag-
like? I think in the first one, I don't even remember the first one, but I feel like in the first one, Liu Kang's body, like upper body, was too stiff, and his legs were just moving as if he was sitting on
Oh,
like
that's
a
what I'd
green
say. Yeah,
screen chair.
he kind of moves like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about that scene when the family's getting ready to leave and then Sub-Zero's in front of the window like Jason Voorhees?
Oh yeah.
That's great.
That was fantastic. I love that so much.
that was really funny.
Quick shout out to those ice effects though.
Oh,
So
yeah.
good.
Cool.
Super cool.
So
I actually took a note of
perfect.
that. I was like the ice effects in Sub-Zero were top
Oh my
notch.
god.
Really
Like,
good.
Oh, so
grabs
good.
Jax's gun and he fires, and the bullets
that
like
first-
slowly coming out.
That first point where he's talking
Mm-hmm.
to Hanzo's family, right? And he's like, he reaches his hand out and his hand starts freezing and he starts building that ice crystal in his hand. I was like,
And it
that's
hurts him. Did you notice that he was,
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
bleeding?
yeah.
I was like, that's so
Mhm.
smart to do that. Like, there's other movies. I think like Wolverine does it and it bleeds a little, maybe in the beginning or something like that. But like, that was dope. I was like, oh, that's perfect.
yeah, it was like it was really like believable, Another cool thing I really liked about this movie, another pro, was there were great references to other Mortal Kombat characters that maybe we're going to see later on, like Nightwolf in Sonya's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed that
sword.
too.
I liked that.
No,
And
Kotal Khan was also in
Right
that same scene too. Yeah.
I didn't notice
Yeah,
that.
yeah, Bo Right Show. I lost my fucking mind, dude.
Yeah, when Liu Kang mentioned Master Bo Right Show, I was like, oh, that's so cool. Yes,
I
because he
didn't
took
pick
him
up on
in
that.
and yeah, it's when he's telling about how he got his Arcana. He's like, Bo Right Show found him and took care of him and then showed
Or
him how
I guess
to...
I should say I don't know the games enough to know who that is.
He's,
Yeah,
he's the master of the Drunken Fist.
He's
I just
the
Googled
threw up on
it.
everybody.
he's a bigger character, and yeah, he's got like the Fu Manchu mustache, if I remember correctly.
I remember him
I'll
mostly
have to
from
look him
Deadly
up.
Alliance. Deadly Alliance was one of my favorites with him in
They
it.
actually brought him back in Mortal Kombat 10.
Did they
As a
really?
DLC character. Yeah.
Oh.
That's pretty dope. I like that.
Sweet.
I like these. I love callbacks like that. You can tell like the people who wrote
Mhm.
this and wanted to make it were actual fans, because the fact that they just added the sweep kicks, the triple sweep kicks.
Yeah.
Like these people like Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't just trying to churn something out. It's
I do
great.
want to see more of Bo' Rai Cho. Like I want them to cast Bo' Rai Cho, because I love Bo' Rai Cho as a character, but I've never understood how he trained Kung Lao and Liu Kang, or maybe just Liu Kang. But I never understood how he is their master. Like there's a disconnect there.
I think
My
I want to see
dream would
that
be-
in both.
My dream would be Jackie Chan in a fat suit.
Oh my
A
god.
callback to his Drunken Master movie. Come on.
That
I don't know.
movie is
Yeah.
fantastic, by the way.
I
Yeah.
feel
love
like
that movie.
the way they're going to go with these movies, just because of the way they did this one, I think they're going to do a lot of no-name actors. Just kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
get some
Yeah,
new
totally.
people. in
Well, I
there.
mean, it is pretty small budget as far as AAA movies or whatever you want to call it.
So the other thing was, I took into effect this when I heard this. I was actually listening to the Kind of Funny podcast about it when they talked about it, and Kevin brought up the fact that the guy who directed this, his only film credit before this was a commercial he made in Australia. That's it.
Oh, jeez.
That's it. This is his
That's
first movie that
impressive.
he made.
Wow, that's amazing.
For this, after I heard that, after I watched it, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me take that into effect the next time I watch it. And after watching it, I was like, okay, this guy obviously did the best he could with what he knows. And
Mhm.
it came out all right. There were some things that could be fixed, but that's something you learn as a director and things like that. So
That's pretty amazing.
maybe he'll get a lot of feedback and understand this is where things need to change. And I have high hopes that they make a second one. I really think it'll be a ton
hope
better
so.
than this.
It's really hard to
Oh, yeah.
tell now because of the dual, like in theaters in some places plus streaming. Like it's really hard to gauge whether or not a movie's doing well on our end. Because before you could just look at the box office. If they doubled what their budget is, we're likely gonna get something. Usually they kind of look for like quadruple, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But like, it's kind of really hard to tell. But I hope the fandom around it kind of just swells up and they'd realize they should do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one
Yeah,
thing.
I'd very much like to see a second one, if only so I can get more of Scorpion kicking ass as a Scorpion
yeah.
main myself.
I was
Yeah.
just one thing I just want to bring up real quick is how is Jax's face not just destroyed? Like when he loses his arms and then he face plants in the concrete as he's falling.
Nice fine.
I forgot about that.
His like Sub-Zero like kicks him off and his literally hits that like second floor.
Oh shit!
I
And then he
forgot about that.
flips and then he face plants on the ground. It's like, how is his face just not gone?
Yeah,
Beast
they totally should have given him little baby arms and a little baby jaw or something.
Yeah.
So
Mouth is all
that's one question I had too about Jax, right? Was with his little arms. I never understood why the Temple Monks didn't just tell Jax, dude, you're not using your arms all the way, unless it was because his Arcana was what powered that, which I understand.
Probably. That's what I
At
think it is.
that moment when he's lifting the rock off,
Like,
the stone,
yeah.
that's when his Arcana came into effect, and then
Yeah.
it must have been powered by his Arcana. So
Like
my question is, like,
technomancy or something.
before he lost his arms, what would his Arcana have been? But again, I'm overthinking some things,
Maybe
And
they
who
were
knows?
always robot arms. You know?
He would have just grown up robot arms.
Yeah, it would just come over like I mean, Cole's
His
armor.
arms just pop off.
They're just like, oh fuck.
But I did
Cool
like
thought. Wonder what
I
it
did
would
like
be.
that. I did like that Jax's Arcana was because he cared for Sonya so much, because they
Yeah.
obviously did through a lot together.
Mhm.
So it was a sense of brotherhood, sisterhood kind of thing. That was his thing. So
But still,
Um,
much like Kano, I'm like, so his magical power is that he has robot arms. I was like, why couldn't they just give him robot arms?
Because they don't have the technology, Chris.
Maybe it's like to manipulate technology or something. That's
Yeah, maybe turn it to like a technomancy sort of thing. That'd be
What's
kinda
interesting,
cool.
I don't know if this is something I made up or kind of when the monks were making it or like finding the robot parts, did they mention that they were searching realms for a cure or something like that? Like the monks had access to other realms or something like this?
They
Or
did
am I-
mention that, yes.
yeah.
They should, yeah.
Because that's
sounds
Yeah,
dope.
but I
familiar.
believe they can. Because I mean,
That's cool.
Raiden travels
dope as hell.
through realms all the time. Although I guess Raiden is also a god. So
Yeah, I think that's really cool as
Yeah.
far as lore building.
he's just
like,
gone half the
then-
movie.
It's pretty sick.
Speaking of Raiden, when he's like, I can't intervene, and then he gives the little dagger to Cole, and then they kind of bring that up, and he's like, ooh.
He says it's like to your boss, to his boss. He's like, "No, I'm not doing nothing," and then like he's like, "Hey man, right here."
Slippy that right there.
Well, also speaking of
Here's the
Raiden,
thing, it's perfect. It's perfect for Raiden though in the games because there's so many times where he's like, I can't be a part of this or whatever. Raiden has such a tendency to not show up until shit's already hit the fan in the games anyway. Like, yeah.
Also, quick little thing, because I was watching someone do like not a review but like a complaint on Annihilation, and I haven't seen that since I saw it when I was a kid, so I don't remember. But I love because he brought up the fact that like you had the tournament in the first one, and then the second one they're like, you know what, we're just invading, undoing the first movie. So I appreciate that they kind of flipped it on this one, where they're like, let's show that Outworld cheats a lot, right? So let's just have them invade. We're like, we're gonna take you out now, and they're like, no, and they fight and they win. And now we get the tournament the next time. So they hype you up, and then they'll feed you the tournament later.
I hope that's the case because at the end, Shang Tsung's like, "Well, next time you see me, I'm bringing armies." So do we know for sure that the next movie is going to have a tournament? That's what concerns me because if they didn't go through the tournament this time and they're already doing the invasion next movie, I'm like, well, where was the tournament?
Honestly, if they say that they're going to save it for the third movie, that would be a mistake, I think.
Oh yeah,
I agree. But if all three of them don't have a tournament, I am mad.
Yeah, unless like the most people that watch this are casuals and they don't really know or care about it or whatever. Because like I know we do, because like we grew up with the video games. We want to see the freaking tournament.
In the first movie, there was a tournament.
Yeah, we also had
that's the whole movie was built around.
That's true. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we'll get a second one.
It's just cool. Like all these people are gathered. It's cool.
Which also went like super circular too, in that there's a shit ton of references to the original Mortal Kombat movie in Mortal Kombat 11, to the point where the crypt, the cool little like gameplay thing where you can unlock things, is on Shang Tsung's island from the movie. So they have like the big like dining hall area, and then the throne that Goro sits on. He's actually a skeleton sitting on that thing. That they have all of the statues of the fighters out there. I was just sitting there, I was like, they just recreated the island from the movie in the fucking video game. That's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Speaking of Mortal Kombat 11, I know like this is just kind of like future movies. Maybe like they talked about Liu Kang potentially kind of like becoming a big character. Do they make him like Raiden? Let's say Raiden loses in to Shang Tsung in the final battle or whatever. Do they make Liu Kang Elder or the Earth God?
Oh, was it? Oh, I want the Wind God. You know what I'm saying? I want that Wind God. Not because my name is Elden, but I want him.
Why can't I ever remember his name?
He studied closest with Raiden, right? So I mean, it would make sense if anybody was to take over for him, it would probably be Liu Kang. I would think,
because that's what the end of 11, I think, is basically what that happens.
He becomes Thunder God.
What would be cool is, again, speaking on like spin-offs and stuff like that, if they did an animated series with like let's show us all the last 9 tournaments. You know what I mean?
That'd be dope.
Let's get some of the old or some characters we've never even heard of in these older tournaments, and some that we have, obviously, because they're that old. But I mean, that would be awesome, Yeah, that would be freaking sweet.
That's a great idea.
I mean, we'd probably get the chance to see like Nightwolf and Kotal Khan, because we saw their photos on Sonya's board.
Whoever that creepy bee lady is.
Yeah, I hope Nightwolf's in it. Nightwolf is a great character.
Pray to God we never see D'Vorah in any of these movies, because she's so icky.
Could you believe it?
What do you guys think of Mileena?
When she unhinged her jaw, was just...
That was cool. That was cool,
I thought that was rad.
It was cool. I think they underutilized her a little bit, but...
Yeah.
I think she'll be a big part of the next one, especially if they bring up Katana.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if they introduce Katana and then they have their whole thing, or I mean, they could even like go even further if they want to do more of the female ninja characters. You could get like you get Jade or the fourth one whose name I can't remember, the red one with the blood. What's her name?
Scarlet.
Scarlet. Thank you.
That was a shot in the dark.
Great shot.
It's spelled with a K though.
The robot
Scarlet.
ninjas.
Right. What?
Oh,
the robot
Cyrax.
Cyrax.
Ooh, heck yeah.
Cyrax.
I use Cyrax a lot.
Sector. Let's get Cyrax, Sector, Smoke. Let's get them all in there.
Bro, give me. So with them specifically calling out Sub-Zero as Bihan, do we think that we're going to see like Noob Saibot at some point?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It seemed like they teased it. It seemed like when he like took his armor off, like that was kind of like what they were getting at.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. and the black smoke. Oh, one of my friends mentioned he's like when Scorpion burns him, he's just charred. He's black already.
Yeah.
So that kind of like
yeah.
a callback to why is he all just like a shadowy black figure? It's because like now he's charred and now he's like this is what he is.
Got all burned up by Scorpion. Ooh, I like that.
It's pretty dope. I'm curious how they're gonna do the second Sub-Zero, the good guy Sub-Zero. Is it gonna be Cole's friend? 4,000 years later. People, let me tell you about my band.
Yeah, I think there's what's cool about the way they ended it is one. I thought the story was fun and delivered a lot of like really classic like Mortal Kombat stuff while also keeping it fresh and not too similar to the original movie. But also, I mean, especially now as opposed to like 99 or whenever the original movie came out, there's so many more characters and so many more Mortal Kombat storylines. They could go kind of in any direction they wanted to after this and still have like a wealth of stuff to draw on, just because the Mortal Kombat lore is, well, deep's not the right word for it, but I mean, it's extensive.
Vast.
Yeah, vast. Yeah. It's not deep, but there's a whole lot of it.
They have time travel. They have time travel in the MK lore.
It's not the first time they've had time travel in the MK lore.
Yeah, I know we were talking about Raiden a little bit earlier. So one of the funniest things to me, and they brought this up with kind of funny too, which kind of brought it to my attention, was they were talking about how there was this point where Cole's like, he asked Raiden, he's like, wait, so Raiden, you can teleport anybody, anytime, anywhere, right? And he's like, uh-huh. and then I'm like, so when they were in the temple, why didn't you just get rid of them in the first place? It was just kind of funny that they drew attention to that when Shang Tsung and them first got to the temple. Like, Raiden
true, yeah.
Popped them right out of there.
Yeah, he could be like, you know what, get out.
Get the fuck out.
Just keep doing that.
I would have been fine with them doing that, even if they just didn't mention that. Like Cole was like, hey, wait, you can do this, right?
Like, let me tell you why. You see, in video games, you got a stealth meter, right? And then if you do too much, you alert them, right? He's got an elder god meter. He can only do so much. He can't cross a certain threshold. And the elder gods are like, I'm sorry, there's like 15 teleportations in once. Yeah. What is happening?
So I just thought that was funny.
That is pretty funny. I guess I would assume maybe Shang Tsung would just keep coming back, and eventually they're like, all right, we just have to fight because like I'm getting tired of this.
He just keeps coming back more annoyed.
Teleportation, smoke appearing. Right?
If this was I was just gonna say, if it was a comedy, it would just be a
Shang Tsung's like, please stop, just let me fight.
He just comes out of there like this.
Every time, just a tiny bit more.
For the last time, Raiden, please just let me finish my talk, okay?
Raiden just cuts him off. He's like,
one word out.
That's a Robot Chicken sketch waiting to happen.
Oh my god,
I love it. So all right, well, I think we're starting to get pretty close on time. Any final thoughts, last words? If you would please finish him and make this combat.
If you guys don't mind, I'll take first. I just wanted to say again, I really enjoyed this movie the second time through. Now that my expectations were kind of lowered from what I was expecting, it's a fun movie. I wouldn't tell anybody not to watch it. I think it's a good time, and for what it is, it serves its purpose. And for, like I said, the notes on the direction and everything like that, for him not having done something like this, I think he made a fantastic film. I can't wait to see the next ones. That's all.
Yeah.
I can piggyback off that. I think they did everything they need to set up a trilogy. I think that's what their goal was. And I think they succeeded in that. I think they teased the right person at the end. Yeah, I think they succeeded.
Robert.
Yeah. I thought as a video game movie, you got to work with the materials that's given, and video games are very often super nothing realistic. Like it's just crazy. They do what they want to facilitate the gameplay, really. So as a filmmaker or whatever, TV show maker, anything to translate that, you don't have a lot to work with. So you got to do what you need to do to make it work. I thought what they presented to us was better than the original, was better than the sequel. And it set up a great jumping off point for more movies in the series. Anything that I remotely had issues with as far as like nitpicking, like, well, that's a little weird. Like, it didn't tip the scales enough to make it like even a bad or an okay movie. Like, I thought this was great across the board. If I scale, I always scale on IGN scores because they have like the words associated with the numbers. Like, to me, this was maybe an 8.5 to 9. Like, not a masterpiece. I thought it was great, maybe amazing, because there was so many amazing moments. With we didn't even touch on all the fights, just the amazing fights. Seeing Sub-Zero and Scorpion's like evolution from being like OG homies, not homies, OG enemies to now. I only wish there was like a blooper scene where because he says like, remember my face, and then it's been 4,000 years. I wish he goes, remember. He's like, who are you?
Like, no.
Who are you guys? Do I know you? Do you know how many people I've killed? I don't know who you are. I've been waiting in hell for you.
He's like, I don't know you.
Paul, is
Have we met?
you? No, it's not Paul. Who is that? Randy?
And I especially appreciate the fact that they didn't, because this movie could have easily been like 2.5 hours long. They could have talked a lot more about the history of Scorpion's and Sub-Zero's clans. Like, they didn't even touch on that, and that's like super important. They didn't touch on Liu Kang's history beyond him giving like 4 lines about how he got his Arcana and this and that. Like, there was so much more they could have just shoved at us, but they kept it kind of surface level to be like, this is the world, this is what's happening. Are you interested? And to me,
it is kind of given in a like take it or leave it sort of things. Like, look, this is Mortal Kombat. You're in or you're not. Like,
do you like the way it's as if they're like testing? Like, do you like this direction that we're going in? Because they didn't dive too deep into everything. They gave just enough little teases for the fans and just presented the world like, this is what it is. Are you in or are you out? And depending on the reviews that it gets and then the money that it ends up making, I guess that's when they'll say, let's move on to the trilogy or not. It was very much like a beta test of sorts. And to me, I loved it. I want more of it. Just don't make a Mortal Kombat the movie, the game, like Street Fighter did, and you'll be fine.
No, I was gonna say the opposite. I'm waiting for Mortal Kombat versus Justice League. Let's do it.
Stop motion.
If we were grading on the IGN scale, like he brought up, it would be a 7 for me, just for the record.
Yeah, I give it about a 6.5.
What about you, man? Final thoughts?
Yeah, for me, I really enjoyed this movie. I went in, I didn't watch much of the movie or Annihilation or whatnot, so I went in with very low expectations, and this movie met them. Like, I was entertained the entire movie, hyped at all the fights, hyped at those music keys, even though I was so irritated with all those like smaller fights when it was like the da 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 da, and then cut and continue and I'd do that like multiple fights, and then during the Scorpion Sub-Zero fight we got the full music key.
There were some really great music cues though, like speaking of those, like where it would sound like a digital like lo-fi like arcade sound, you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Kind of trickle in and then it would just trickle out, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the soundtrack's actually pretty legitimately like fun to listen to.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this movie, I really enjoyed it. I basically right along with Robert, loved my time with it, and enjoyed my second watch today even more, just because it was like, just sit back, lean back, kind of turn my brain off and just watch the cool fights. Can't wait for the sequels. Please give us sequels, WB.
Please, oh my god.
Please.
With the tournament.
Yeah, next one needs to be the tournament. Like, I 100% agree with that. But yeah, like I said earlier, I just to kind of wrap it up, give my final thoughts. I've been a Mortal Kombat fan for as long as I can remember, apparently, or so my parents tell me. And this was it was exactly what I wanted out of it, to where I was like, look, the dialogue's not going to be great, the plot's gonna be thin, but I don't care, because I just want to see my favorite like Mortal Kombat characters on screen fight each other. Give me a vague reason that they're doing so, and I'm here for it. Like, that's enough for me. And they were very entertaining. There were lots of, like, even outside of even just like story references to the games, like some of the moves that they do in the movie are from the games, like both old and new, which is really cool. Like Kung Lao's Fatality was straight out of MKX. There's a point where there's the really sick scene where Sub-Zero stabs Scorpion, takes the blood, freezes and stabs him, and then he builds an ice wall and throws him through it. The ice wall is one of his throws in Mortal Kombat 11. Like that's almost exactly what it looks like. Just tons and tons of stuff like that I really, really enjoyed. I like everything that fucking Kabal does right out of the video game. Like it looked like they lifted him out of MK11.
Dope effects
like,
too.
Oh yeah.
The Kabal Liu Kang fight was amazing. I loved it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And much like everybody else, I'm excited to see the next one. I don't think this one was a flawless victory, but I did really enjoy it a lot. I'll give it like an 8.5. Oh my god, there goes my dog.
Yeah, so
he's testing your might.
He's testing my might, apparently.
For me, I was almost a little surprised, just kind of like the movie that this was, that there was no like homage to like the X-ray parts of the movie or of the games.
Oh, that would have been maybe cool. No budget.
That would have actually been really cool if they did like an X-ray thing.
That's a good call.
We see that lady's spine somehow.
We do.
That's about as close to an X-ray we're gonna get.
We see Jax's like bone sticking out of his arms.
Yeah. Wasn't that like straight out of the video game where after she does that, the camera pans and you just see that shot? So good.
Yeah,
something similar to that. Yeah.
That's a Sony Blade fatality for sure, where she blasts through the chest and you can see the spine. And you can see her like standing like on the other side of the stage. Like they're like,
Kano was standing with the heart too.
Yep.
Kano wins.
Could we get
fucking beauty.
an MKU? Just like the MCU, you know what I mean?
Maybe down.
Let's do 30 movies and let's just dive into each character more. That's what I was saying.
Mortal Kombat 9 has already established that we have alternate timelines going here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just tell you what I just realized in my head, and now I'm mad even more? If WB didn't chicken out on making the darker universe for DC, we could have had freaking DC versus Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be freaking sweet, man.
Straight out of the video game, it could have happened. Because
hopefully
two dark worlds.
Hopefully, it would have been better than the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who?
Anyway.
Before we leave, who are they going to cast as Johnny Cage?
Have you seen the two front runners, or not front runners, but like fan?
I've seen Ed Boon.
The Miz is one. And then
there's somebody doing a really dope photo.
Well, Ryan Reynolds wasn't even a fan thing. Ryan Reynolds actually like did an ad for like Mint Mobile or whatever, where he photoshopped him as Johnny Cage. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he owns Mint Mobile for the record, but yeah, totally. If those are the two options, Miz and Ryan Reynolds, it's not the Miz. Okay, I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Again, my thing is, I think again they're gonna go with a no-name actor. I think that's the way to go with this series. Honestly,
I mean, it's the way to keep the budget.
Well, you have to keep the budget low.
Basically, do the opposite of what Invincible's doing. Have a low budget cast so that they can keep the visuals and stuff up.
They shout out Ed Boon and the other creator too in this movie. I just wanted to throw that out too. They say like Ed Tobias or something like that.
Yeah,
like
Ed Tobias.
You took the belt from Eddie Tobias or something like
that. There's also in the scene where Sub-Zero is like freezes and breaks off Jax's arms. There's spray paint on the back that's a down arrow, a back arrow, and punch. And so it's that's his ice ball. That's the input to his ice ball.
Oh, that's
really cool.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's really dark and hidden. I didn't notice it until somebody posted about it on Twitter.
It was great.
Yeah, it's so good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Of course, thank you guys again for coming on, Robert and Scoot.
Thank you.
I love you guys dearly. Austin, Al, of course, thank you for being here because you had to, but also because you enjoyed the movie and wanted to talk about it.
Yep.
Of course, for everybody else, you've been watching the Waypoint podcast. Get over here and press the subscribe button down there if you want to see more of us, and I'll see you guys at the next Waypoint.